Tu sais qui a fait ça?
Oh. Oh no. Oh no 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 no. Oh no. Great. Here come the Mephisto theories again. Well, you thought WandaVision was weird? Oh boy, you ain't seen nothing yet. Loki Episode 1, titled Glorious Purpose, kicks off the weird and wonderful world of the TVA and their under-the-radar adventures that the God of Mischief will be joining them on over the next 6 glorious weeks. Directed by Kate Herron, the series will follow Loki in a branched-out timeline from the core MCU, after the events of Avengers Endgame where we saw him leave 2012 New York with a stolen Tesseract. This break of the sacred timeline gathers the attention of the Time Variance Authority, the keepers of the proper flow of time, and Loki is sentenced to a reset, which I can only assume is a more official word for death, before being taken on by Owen Wilson's Mobius M. Mobius to stop a mysterious criminal who just so happens to be another Loki variant. We come to understand that in the TVA, things are not as we're accustomed to in the MCU, in terms of things such as the proper flow of time, the permitting of any form of power or magic, and even simply the way people act. There's even a weird, smiley robot that lasers your clothes off, so it's a strange place, but god damn if it isn't beautiful. In Loki's time with the TVA in this first episode, we see him go through many an existential crisis, and with that comes some truly remarkable acting from Tom Hiddleston, which is exactly what I love so much about these MCU shows. Getting to see the characters we know and love from a different side. Where they're not just side characters in the big hitters' adventures, we actually get to see them be the driving force of their own stories in their own adventures, which allows us to see intimate moments like this. This, and this, and now this. So what's the deal with the TVA? Well, long ago there was a vast multiversal war. Countless unique timelines battled each other for supremacy, nearly resulting in the total destruction of, well, everything. Then, the all-knowing Timekeepers emerged, bringing peace by reorganizing the multiverse into a single timeline, the Sacred Timeline. Now, the Timekeepers protect and preserve the proper flow of time for everyone and everything. But sometimes people like Loki veer off the path the Timekeepers created. The TVA call those individuals variants. Whether it be causing an uprising or just being late for work, whatever the variant does causes a nexus event, which if left unchecked could branch off into madness, leading to another multiversal war. To make sure that doesn't happen, the Timekeepers created the TVA, and all its work is to fix the mistakes, and set time back on its predetermined path. All this information comes to us via a Hanna-Barbera style info video, which is actually quite delightful to watch, but if looked into, well, what exactly does it mean for the wider MCU? Well, you heard me say how the variants cause a nexus event, which if left unchecked could branch off into madness, leading to a multiversal war. So, I guess the clue is right there. This is obviously a direct reference to both Scarlet Witch, who is a Nexus being, and also a first glimpse at the potential plot of Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness. This could also be a setup towards an MCU Secret Wars event. The 2015 Secret Wars event, separate to the 1984-1985 miniseries of the same name, saw the multiverse collapsing, universes colliding and entire realities being wiped out. We see the main Marvel Comics universe, Earth 616, destroyed as it collides with numerous other universes, creating what came to be known as Battleworld. It was a pretty exciting event that I have a strong feeling the MCU is getting ready to adapt to live action, and I for one would love to see it on the big screen. A pretty important scene in this episode is during Loki's trial, where we meet the judge Ravonna Lexus Renslayer, who in the comics is a pretty big character in relation to an upcoming Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania villain, one Mr. Nathaniel Richards, also known as Kang the Conqueror. In this scene we see Loki pleading innocent, proclaiming the time-travelling Avengers to be the true timeline breakers, showing that Loki was very well aware of the multiple Earth's mightiest heroes being in 2012, saying that he could smell the cologne of two Tony Starks anywhere. This also raises the question of what is and isn't supposed to happen and how it's decided by the Timekeepers in terms of time travel and changing the timeline, since the Avengers meddle with the timeline as well as Loki, yet he's the only one being punished because what he did wasn't supposed to happen. Well, according to the Timekeepers and their sacred timeline anyway. Another important part of the episode is the build-up of the villain, which, as I mentioned earlier, is another Loki variant. We've seen from set photos all the way back in last year that this mysterious and incredibly villainous Loki variant is none other than Lady Loki, which is going to be a really cool character to have in the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse, I guess it is now? We gather from this episode that this Loki variant has been going throughout timelines causing havoc and killing TVA agents, which is why Mobius is so eager to work with 2012 Loki. Now, I have a theory that much like our Loki, Lady Loki isn't an evil person at her core, and is simply doing it to get revenge on the TVA for some reason or another. Perhaps the TVA caught her messing with the timeline like our Loki, and when they reset her timeline, this caused her to go on a vengeful rampage. We also get a few mentions of the Infinity Stones, as well as a whole drawer full of them in some random TVA agent's desk. As they don't have power in the TVA, they are apparently used as paperweights, but I don't know, it's so mental to me that the most powerful items in the universe, the very things that the Avengers busted their asses to acquire in Endgame, are just lying around the office. And not just one set of them either, like a whole bunch of them. The theme of this show is clearly identity and mastering one's destiny. And we get a lot of this in some of my favourite scenes in the episode, with Loki and Mobius watching through Loki's life, as Mobius grills the god of mischief to reveal why he does what he does, trying to get through to the very core of his character, which I think we all know isn't as evil as Loki would have us believe. And hey, I'm not going to pretend that seeing Loki watch how his life was supposed to go didn't break my heart and bring a damn tear to my eye. And seeing Loki's previously unknown adventure to Midgard in 1971 as the criminal known as D.B. Cooper because of a lost bet to Thor, that had me grinning from ear to ear. Loki, at least so far, is the perfect blend of the wild and weirdness of WandaVision and the intricate, slower-paced storytelling of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. When I watched the episode for a second time with my parents, my dad, who actually really despises Loki as a character, even said that he really enjoyed it, and saw it as more of a thriller with a sort of 1970s sci-fi vibe to it, which I actually can totally get behind. That's pretty accurate. I absolutely love this episode, and from what I hear from early reviews, it only gets better with the second episode, so make sure to come back next week for my breakdown of that. But until then, you can keep up with me and the channel on the Twitter at Geeks of the Multiverse. I've been Brandon, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw here today, then maybe consider subscribing to catch our other content as and when it releases.